I love the names on this team. They have Sixto Sanchez, and they have my favorite name probably in baseball right now, Jazz Chisholm.
Showing emotion in baseball is terrible and should never be in the game.
It's weird how the dynamic works between sports.
But to win a championship, not only do you need great players on the court, but you need good chemistry, which takes time to develop.
Justin Fields is a all-time talent.
Corey Perry will give some veteran presence to the Canadians.
I feel like Luka will take that next step, and if he can get a three ball consistently around 35%, I feel like they could become a contender.
We can make jokes about you not being in the Super Bowl for 20-something years, but...
What's up, everyone? This is Justin Goldman from the Goalie Guild and Lift the Mask, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Austin and Kevin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our part 2 of NFL Opinions. We posted AFC Team Needs. Now we're doing NFC Team Needs. This can be solved through the draft or through the free agency, as there's some good players left on the market. I am Kevin, and I am joined by the podcaster that talks into a microphone.
Be pretty tough to be a podcaster that doesn't talk into a microphone, but that is a true. Do you want to start off with the NFC East, because you went with the Super Bowl champs on one side? You want to go with the Super Bowl runner-ups on the other?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. The Eagles, I have defensive back. They lost Chauncey Golden-Johnston. There was they're going to get rid of Slade, but then he stayed on. But I think they could add a safety or corner. And then I also have defensive line as Brandon Graham, and some guys are getting older, and then O-line because they lost a guard to the Steelers.
Yeah, I basically, if I wanted to say only secondary or only DB, that's all I really have. I have cornerback and safety. I think their O-line situation will be figured out from within. Maybe they pick up a guy because, again, everyone can never have enough of those positions. But I don't see their big needs at secondary, which was really, again, shown in the Super Bowl, as they could not guard anyone.
Yeah, it's true. Now we'll go to the Washington football team. What did you put?
The Commanders.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I just think of Washington. It's too much.
For the Commanders, I put wide receivers their number one need. If they're going to have Sam Howell, as they've stated many times, as their starter, you need to bolster that wide receiver room. I know they have Terry McLaurin, but that needs to be shown through more. Next is O-line. You got to protect them. And after that, I have QB listed, but if they're set on going with Sam Howell, they've seen stuff, then you have to protect him and you have to give him weapons.
Yeah, O-line's my main issue. I kind of like their wide receiver core. They have Terry McLaurin. I like Jahan Dotson. Quarterback can be an issue unless they're going to go with Sam Howell. And I also believe they signed Jacoby Brissett.
Yes, I think I did see that.
But yeah, I think O-line is the big issue. And they also have defensive back. To me, they have a great defensive line, but the back end of that defense always needs help.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move to the Giants. My biggest need is wide receiver, then O-line. I think they could get some guys. They struggle with depth, and then defensive back.
Yeah, same categories, different order. I have O-line is their biggest need, then safety, then wide receiver. They need some help in all of those areas, but I'm very confident moving forward that this team is going to be a playoff contender. Brian DeBall has been amazing, and picking up Darren Waller, like I said in the past video, that's huge.
Yeah, that is huge. They could be good. To me, it's all just dependent on if Daniel Jones continues to play like he did last season.
Yeah, that's how it works. So, On to your team.
Yeah, I'll let you go first with this one.
I don't have many needs.
Yeah, they actually had a good offseason right now.
Yeah, I only have tight end and O-line. I think they need to address the tight end situation. If they could have got in on that Darren Waller sweepstakes with all the other trades they've been making, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, tight end is my biggest need for them as well. I like Hendershot and who's the other guy? Peyton Hendershot, and Jake Ferguson. I think they're good guys, but to me, it's a nice tight end draft, and I'm cool if they draft a tight end in the first round. I have defensive end and O line, and then a little bit of running back because they signed Ronald Jones, Pollard coming on off an injury. I think if you draft a guy not in the first round,
With their trade up and draft Bijan
or
Robinson.
if I swear, if Bijan Robinson is at 26, I'm gonna be like, don't take him. But they're gonna end up taking him if he's there. But yeah, defensive end, I think you have Micah, you have DeMarcus Lawrence. I think if you could add another defensive end, that would really help this defense.
Yeah. Their defense is just so reliant on their schemes, and I feel like anyone can fill that job, especially when you have Micah Parsons on the other side. He's going to be catching triple teams here in a minute.
But yeah, or were you gonna say?
No.
To me, he kind of lost some steam at the end. So if you can add a guy that can also be helpful,
I
think
don't
that would
feel
be
like he lost any steam. I just think it's a little bit of a sophomore slump that we see with other players. They just kind of figured him out, and I think this offseason is going to keep working. Dan Quinn's going to put him in better situations, and next year, again, he's been a defensive player of the year candidate his entire career, and I don't think that stops next year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how the defense plays, and then depending on what happens in the draft with the offense, that'll be interesting. But let's go to now. We ended with my team. Let's go to your team and their division, NFC North with the Packers.
You know what's crazy is I was thinking, what if we just did back to back here? I think that'd be good. That's pretty good. I like that. So if we're starting off with the Packers, because I went first on your team, you go first on my team.
All right, I have wide receivers their biggest need right now. If you're going to be set with Jordan Love as your quarterback, you need to give him some weapons. You lost Lazard. Christian Watson, I think, should have a better season, but if maybe you make a trade for DeAndre Hopkins or draft a wide receiver, then I have tight end and then defensive end.
Yeah, I feel like somewhat there. My biggest need is tight end. We lost Robert Tonyan. Marcedes Lewis is going to leave to the Jets as well. And I loved both of those guys dearly. It's a hard loss. We need to address tight end. It's a good tight end draft. Tight end must be picked up. Then after that, I have O-line, wide receiver, D-line. I'm confident in our D-line to an extent. Our top three I really like, but we need another one. Wide receiver, I like Christian Watson. I like Romeo Doubs. I'm confident in how this is all working out, but tight end's a must, and then we'll go on to the rest.
Yeah, I think that is correct. I understand the tight end pick. But now let's go to the Vikings. I'll let you go first.
The Vikings, I have linebacker as their biggest need. Then cornerback, we lost Patrick Peterson. Wide receiver, I think because they lost Adam Thielen, they need to pick up another wide receiver. I understand they have Justin Jefferson, who's a top 3 wide receiver in the league, in my opinion, right now. But they need to make another addition there. And then O-line.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I have defensive back as their biggest need, but then I have wide receiver and then defensive end. I also get O-line. But yeah, defensive back, it seems like they lost a lot of guys. And I totally understand wide receiver. I know you have Justin Jefferson, but we saw it with the Cowboys. When you have a good wide receiver and not many other competent wide receivers, it limits your offense. So I totally wouldn't mind if they drafted a wide receiver or traded for one. I'll let you choose the next team.
Next is the Bears. Bears, my biggest need for them is wide receiver, then tight end, O-line, and D-line. They need a lot of additions, and you could really almost put everything here. I think they should stick with Justin Fields, though, and build around him.
All right, we're a little bit different on this one. I have defensive back listed as the number one because of the corners and their defense struggled. Then I have defensive end. I think they could add someone. I said O-line was my biggest issue, right?
No, you said DB.
Oh, okay, I was looking at the wrong list. I was looking at the Vikings. They were right out under the Bears. O line is my biggest issue for the Bears. Then I have defensive end, then defensive back.
Yeah.
I like we've talked about it off air. If they draft a wide receiver, I wouldn't hate it. But to me, I would draft an O line, and I think they're pretty set right now. Like they're in a comfortable spot with wide receiver. Like it's not a mega need.
I just think with Njigba right there, and you want to get a Burrow Chase comparison, Njigba's right there for the taking, and I think that'd be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I do agree. And then maybe in the second round, or they can go sign some people. They could trade for Jonah Williams for the guy from Cincy.
Yep, one team left in this.
Yes, the Lions. There really isn't much here, but I just have tight end, and then wide receiver, and then like defensive line if they want to add someone.
Can you explain the tight end pick?
Well, who's there? They traded TJ. Was it? What was his last name? TJ Ferguson. Hawkinson. So I think if they want to upgrade at tight end, I totally understand it. And then I think that was just a tight end. Like if they wanted, what are your thoughts on Darnell Washington?
Wow. I think Darnell Washington's going to be a beast. I'm just surprised you had tight end as their biggest need because I just felt like D-line was their biggest hole outside of Aiden Hutchinson. Because Aiden Hutchinson was making splashes at the end of the year. When I felt like they started to double team him, they kind of got pushed back. After that, I have safety, O-line, and then I do have tight end mentioned, but I feel like there's other things they need to address before they get to that.
That's fair. Yeah, I got a little off track. I'm just to me, Darnell Washington, it's very, some people are on very opposite sides of him as a prospect.
I don't think he's going to be as good as some people say, but I think he'll be a starter caliber top 15 tight end in the league. I'll say that.
Okay.
So top 50% of starters.
Yeah, I think he's so massive. I'm like, he'd be a great blocker, and then a good he has the skills to also be a.
I have to see how he plays. Not every Gronk prototype is Gronk, and I think that's part of the problem. Is we see these guys that are massive, and we see how they can move, but how are they going to move when people hit them? Gronk barely stayed healthy for his career, and it's shocking how many games he did play. Travis Kelce's already played the same amount of games, or maybe one less than him. And so, yeah. I mean, that's why Rob Gronkowski's my greatest tight end of all time because he has 92 touchdowns. Kelce's 68 in the same amount of games played. But
yeah, and Gronkowski's. When I think of Darnell Washington, I like if everything maxes out, he's probably close to Rob Gronkowski. But to me, I think he'll be a good blocker and a good wide receiver, or good receiving. I think Gronkowski's definitely the best complete tight end because Kelce doesn't really block. He's more of a receiving tight end, more modern.
Yeah, and that's a big reason as well why Kelce will probably never be my GOAT tight end. He could play another 5 years and be really, really good. He won't touch Gronk because not only did Gronk have 24 more touchdowns in the same amount of games, but Kelce's not hit as much. He's used as a wide receiver. He's used as a guy for screens, and he doesn't really block well. And we've seen that by the fact that the Chiefs have not had a really good running back since Jamal Charles left early in Kelce's career.
Yeah, but yeah, tight end to me, I think could add to it could really help their offense. And then I think D-line, I wouldn't mind adding. But I think there's probably some young guys coming up. But yeah, now let's go to the NFC West.
The NFC West, I'll start with the Seahawks. I have D-line as their biggest need. I think that's a pretty obvious one. Their D-line was a major reason why teams were running the ball all over them. Then I have linebacker. Then I have wide receiver. There was only 2 wide receivers last year that hit 1,000 yards receiving. Can you name them?
2?
Just 2.
Only 2.
30 or above.
I know Devontae Adams got
1,100.
And then is it DK Metcalf?
DK, he just got drafted. He's not 30. What is he, 25?
Wait. You just said that just got drafted?
He got drafted in the past 4 years. He's not 30.
Wait. I'm confused. I just thought of 2 wide receivers. I missed this. I wasn't fully
2 wide
paying attention.
receivers who are 30 or above
Okay.
who last season got 1,000 yards.
Okay. All right.
The
I missed the
decaf is
30.
25. And like I said,
Yeah,
he was drafted.
I missed the 30.
Yeah.
So
he's
yeah,
played.
Devontae.
He's only played 4 seasons. He got drafted in the last 4 years.
I just was thinking wide receivers. Okay, I missed the 30. Okay, so Devontae, and then is Tyler Lockett 30?
Yep, Tyler Lockett. Those two were exactly 30 last year. They were the only 2 wide receivers in the league with 1,000 yards. And Lockett, I believe, I will check. Oh no, he actually had like 40 yards less because Lockett and Metcalf both ended up having. Oh no, he had 15 yards. Metcalf had 1,048. Lockett had 1,033. So they're roughly the same. But I think you need another wide receiver there to kind of make sure that everyone's working out. And then linebacker or DN are their major needs. But I think wide receiver is something else you need to address because wide receivers nowadays do not last as long as they used to. We saw Calvin Johnson retire at 29, and Lockett had 1,000 at 30. Devontae at 1,400 at 30, whatever he had. I think it's 1,300 or 1,400 or 1,500. I can't remember. But that's definitely something you need to address.
Yeah, I agree. Their main issue is defensive line. They struggle. I was thinking like defensive tackle, or they go DN, just someone to set that line of scrimmage on the defensive side. And then they could upgrade their O-line, but I also see wide receiver that if you draft on like the 3rd round, maybe you could see, or you could sign someone or make a trade with someone. There are many ways you can solve it. So yeah, defensive line, they struggled on the run in stopping the run game.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's the next team?
The next team, let's go Niners. I have offensive tackle because they lost their right tackle. And then defensive side seems pretty good. And then I just listed QB because did you hear about Brock Purdy?
Yeah, he's probably out for the year.
Well, it's week 1 or 4, but he's the starter as of right now, according to John Lynch.
I thought he was going to be out for. Is he not going to be out for as long as I thought?
Apparently there's 2 different timetables.
9 months would still have him out for a while.
I heard he's supposed to come back around week 1 or week 4.
We'll see. I mean, you and I kind of mimicked each other. I never didn't find a specific position when it came to O-line. I put O-line for all line that have O-line, but I put O-line for the same reason you did. They lost McGlinchey, who I think was a serviceable tackle, and then QB. Just you have to you have to draft somebody. Just in case what happens last year where your backup Josh Johnson, who honestly was thrown under the bus for having not playing well, but he also got hurt in that game, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, so just some type of plan for quarterback, and then offensive line. I understand, but now let's go to the Rams, where they have a lot of needs. O-line, wide receiver outside of Kupp, well, including Kupp because Kupp's coming off an injury. Then defensive end, cornerback because they traded Jalen Ramsey. Really everything, and like you could even put quarterback on this list if you wanted because Matthew Stafford's getting older.
They're lucky they got lucky in the Super Bowl and won it, because if not, this would have been a historic fall off. You could really put everything here, and I don't think I really had to go deep into it. I mean, anything. My biggest need's O-line, I will say that, but everything is here.
That's fair. And I think the same thing goes for the next team, and that's Cardinals offensive line, defensive end, defensive back outside of Buda Baker because he's great. But yeah, they have a lot of holes as well. And you can even put wide receiver.
I put O-line, D-line, wide receiver, linebacker. Those are my main needs that I have listed.
Yeah. So now we're on our final division, and that's the NFC South. And I'll let you talk about the Bucs.
Okay, for the Bucks, O line was their major issue last year, whether it be because of injuries or unable to protect. Then I have linebacker, cornerback, and safety. I'm fine with Rashad White. I think he could be a very good running back, so I don't think that you really need to address that over these other things.
Yeah, I agree. O line's their major issue. They struggled with protecting Tom Brady. Then I also put defensive back and defensive end. I understand linebacker as Levante David's getting older.
Yeah.
But yeah, the next team, let's do the Saints. I have wide receiver and I have middle linebacker, and those are really the only main needs. But like there, you could probably add on the back end because I know they had a lot of injuries to their corners, and maybe add an extra defensive lineman.
Yeah, I have linebacker as their biggest need, with supplementing that with O line, tight end, and wide receiver. I still think they could add O line at least for depth reasons, but linebacker is clearly their biggest need in my opinion.
Yeah, it's fair. And of course, I forgot to put quarterback, but I just assume they're going to take a quarterback number 1 overall.
I mean, they just got Derek Carr. I don't necessarily know
Oh
if
wait,
they need to.
are you talking about the Saints or did I say?
You said Saints, right?
I meant Panthers. Maybe I did say Saints. My bad.
Oh, uh, okay. Well, that's my Saints is linebacker, tight end, wide
Okay.
receiver, O line. My Panthers is QB because they have the first pick, wide receiver, O line. I like their defense.
Yeah, I like their defense too. Okay, yeah, that's my bad. I just got confused. But yeah, then I'll add my Saints. Offensive line. I have wide receiver and defensive back as well. But yeah, offensive line they struggled.
Yeah, but it mainly was the injuries otherwhere, like with Michael Thomas or Alvin Kamara. And then last team on this list is Falcons, and I'll go first. O line, QB, wide receiver, D line, linebacker. I mean, everything can be listed here almost. They just need better coaching, in my opinion, and picking up players wherever's necessary is important.
Yeah, I agree. Like they could even upgrade at quarterback if they wanted to. I have defensive end, offensive lineman. Yeah, and defensive back. This roster just needs a lot of help. I'm not sure what to feel about coaching because I feel they've just had a bad roster the past few years.
Yeah, I understand that. It's their system was not built for what they did last year, and they kind of, I think, regressed Kyle Pitts, who I thought was going to be one of the best tight ends in the league. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And that ends our NFL video part 2. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.